Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Do you know what the worst food that feeds cancer cells is? Now that's a question that might have you scratching your head. After all, we often hear about the benefits of a healthy diet, but rarely do we talk about the darker side of our meals. You see, diet plays a significant role in our overall health, and that includes our odds of developing cancer. Certain foods, it turns out, can contribute to the growth and multiplication of cancer cells. Some of these culprits might be lurking in your pantry right now, masquerading as everyday items. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But don't fret. Knowledge is power, and understanding these dietary pitfalls is the first step towards making healthier, cancer-fighting food choices. So, are you ready to uncover the truth about the worst food that feeds cancer cells? Stay tuned as we delve into the foods that you might want to avoid or limit in your diet. Before we get into the specifics, it's important to understand why certain foods can feed cancer cells. Imagine your body as a bustling city, and within that city are millions of cells, all with specific jobs that keep the city running smoothly. However, sometimes a cell goes rogue, behaving in ways it shouldn't. These rogue cells are what we know as cancer cells. Unlike normal cells that have a cycle of growth, division, and death, cancer cells don't play by these rules. They grow and divide uncontrollably, refusing to die when they should. This uncontrolled growth forms a mass of tissue known as a tumor. But how do these cells get the energy to fuel this growth? Well, like every other cell in our body, they get their energy from the food we eat. Here's where the connection between diet and cancer comes in. Certain types of foods can provide an optimal environment for these rogue cells to thrive. For instance, foods high in sugar, unhealthy fats, and certain additives can trigger inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. This creates an ideal setting for cancer cells to grow and multiply. Furthermore, the food we consume can influence our body's hormonal balance. Certain foods can increase the levels of hormones that promote cell growth, such as insulin and insulin-like growth factor. With more of these growth-promoting hormones circulating in our bodies, cancer cells get the signal to grow and divide even more. But it's not all doom and gloom. The same way some foods can fuel cancer cells, others can help prevent their growth. Foods rich in antioxidants, fiber, and healthy fats can help maintain a healthy balance in our bodies, reducing the risk of cancer. Now that we have a basic understanding of how cancer cells work, let's move on to the foods that can exacerbate this process. It's not about fear, but about making informed choices for our health. As we delve deeper into this topic, remember, knowledge is power. And with power comes the ability to make changes that could potentially save your life. One of the worst culprits when it comes to feeding cancer cells is sugar. We're all aware of the sweetness of sugar, but its potential impact on our health is far from sugary. To understand why sugar is problematic, it's essential to delve into the biology of our bodies. Cells, including cancer cells, rely on glucose, a type of sugar for energy. The problem arises when there's an overconsumption of sugar, leading to an excess of glucose in our bodies. This excess glucose can lead to inflammation. But what's the connection between inflammation and cancer? Well, inflammation is our body's response to injury or infection. It's a good thing when it's short-lived and controlled. However, chronic inflammation, which can be caused by a high-sugar diet, can actually damage our cells. This damage might cause mutations in our DNA, which can potentially lead to cancer. In addition to inflammation, a high-sugar diet can lead to insulin resistance. Now, insulin is a hormone that allows our cells to take in glucose for energy. However, when our bodies become resistant to insulin, our cells aren't able to use glucose effectively. This can lead to higher levels of glucose in the blood, which, as we've already discussed, can feed cancer cells. Sugar, in and of itself, isn't a direct cause of cancer. However, its indirect effects, particularly inflammation and insulin resistance, can create an environment in our bodies that is conducive to the growth and spread of cancer cells. It's also important to note that not all sugars are created equal. Natural sugars found in fruits, vegetables, and dairy products are part of a healthy diet. The real culprits are added sugars, found in processed foods and beverages, which are often consumed in excess. So, while it might be hard to cut out sugar completely, it's important to be mindful of your intake. Remember, moderation is key, and making small, gradual changes to your diet can make a big difference in your overall health. Next on our list of foods that feed cancer cells are processed foods. These are the convenient, ready-to-eat items that line the shelves of our supermarkets. They're easy, they're quick, but they're also a hotbed for ingredients that can contribute to cancer growth. Processed foods often have high levels of sugars, unhealthy fats, and salts, ingredients that can lead to obesity. Obesity, in turn, is a significant risk factor for many types of cancer, including breast, colon, rectum, kidney, esophagus, pancreatic, and endometrial cancers. In fact, research shows that excess body weight contributes to as many as 1 in 5 cancer-related deaths. But the threats don't stop at obesity. Processed foods are also notorious for their additives and preservatives. These are chemicals added to prolong shelf life, enhance flavor, or improve texture. However, many of these substances, such as nitrates and nitrites, have been linked to an increased risk of cancer, particularly colorectal cancer. Furthermore, some processed foods contain artificial sweeteners which, while low in calories, may not be as innocent as they seem. Some studies suggest a potential link between artificial sweeteners and an increased risk of certain types of cancer, though further research is still needed. Then there's the issue of trans fats. These are a type of fat found in many processed foods that can not only lead to obesity and heart disease, but also increase your risk of certain types of cancer. In summary, processed foods may be convenient, but they carry a hefty health toll. They can contribute to obesity, a known cancer risk factor, and contain harmful additives, preservatives, and other ingredients that may increase your risk of cancer. So what can you do? Try to stick to whole foods as much as possible. Whole foods are those that have been minimally processed and retain their natural nutrients. They're fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, foods that nourish your body rather than burden it. Remember, your diet is one of the most powerful tools you have for protecting your health. Make it count. Try to stick to whole foods as much as possible for your health's sake. Our third category includes red and processed meats. Yes, that sizzling steak or mouth-watering bacon you can't resist might be doing more harm than you think. There's a strong link between the consumption of red and processed meats and the increased risk of certain types of cancer, with colorectal cancer being a prime example. Now, why is this the case? Red meat, such as beef, lamb, and pork, and processed meats like hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats, are rich in saturated fats and cholesterol. Too much of these can lead to obesity, which is a risk factor for multiple types of cancer. But it's not just about the fat content. When these meats are cooked at high temperatures, such as grilling or barbecuing, certain harmful substances can form. One of these is heterocyclic amines, or HCAs, which are chemicals that can alter DNA and promote cancer development. Another is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, or PAHs, which have also been identified as carcinogens. Processed meats have an additional issue. They often contain nitrates and nitrites, preservatives that can form nitrosamines in the body. Nitrosamines are another group of compounds known to cause cancer. Now, this is not to say you should completely eliminate red and processed meats from your diet. They are a good source of protein, iron, and other essential nutrients. But balance is key. The World Health Organization advises that consuming more than 700 grams of red meat a week increases cancer risk. To put it in perspective, that's about the same as 4 large steaks, so it's about moderation, not elimination. Opt for lean cuts, limit the frequency of consumption, and consider alternative protein sources like poultry, fish, or plant-based proteins. And remember, how you cook your meat matters too. Opt for lower temperature cooking methods, such as baking or stewing, to reduce the formation of harmful compounds. Consider limiting your intake of red and processed meats to reduce your cancer risk. It's a small change that can have a big impact on your health. Remember, every step you take towards a healthier lifestyle is a step away from cancer. In conclusion, while no food guarantees cancer prevention, being mindful of your diet can play a significant role in your overall health. We've explored how certain foods like sugar, processed foods, and red and processed meats can potentially feed cancer cells. Sugar, often hidden in our favorite treats, can lead to obesity, which is a known risk factor for several types of cancer. Processed foods, loaded with artificial ingredients, can disrupt our body's natural rhythm, potentially triggering harmful processes. Lastly, red and processed meats, while delicious, carry certain risks due to their high content of certain carcinogenic compounds. The key takeaway here is not to eliminate these foods entirely, but to consume them in moderation, complementing them with a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe and leave a comment below, and hit the bell for more health and wellness inspiration. Until next time, stay healthy and happy.